Taz effect hits you like a wave, a fresh new spin on the news you crave. Turn the page and you see the light, a different angle that feels so right. No more waiting for the truth to show. Every story starts to glow. Daily news in a way you didn't know. It's the Taz effect that steals the show. Open your mind, let the colors flow. Daily news in a way you didn't know.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining me here for the Taz Effect, daily news in a way you didn't know you could use. And today is Wisdom Wednesday, and hopefully I can bring you a little bit of wisdom to get you through the rest of the day. For those listening in over the radio airwaves at gcpr.live, thank you, and welcome. And for everybody else listening and watching from all over the social media sphere, hey, how y'all doing? How your mama doing? How your bestie doing? How y'all? If you are not aware, today was the grand opening of the Tazisms Discord, darling. So if you would like entry, you can message me or Smoking Hot Messages, and we'll get you in there. We'll get you situated. That is the place where you can submit your information for Mutual Aid Mondays. Whatever you want us to talk about on Talk About It Tuesdays, whatever you want to hear about or learn about here on Wisdom Wednesdays, and of course, one place where you can submit all your craziness for Fun News Fridays. All right. Let's get this party started before my babysitter comes in here and tells me to simmer down. We're on good terms so far today. I gave her a treat. My bestie said that might help. We'll see. We will see. Starting off strong, Representative Thomas Massie puts his Republican brand against Trump's in Kentucky. Massie is touting his independence and trying to turn the president into an afterthought as he faces Trump-endorsed Ed Galrain next month in a tough GOP primary. Now, some of y'all saw Mr. Galrain's campaign video, either on YouTube at TazJ77 or over on my TikTok page at TazJ15, where they portray Trump as being like Rambo in a foxhole. Now, you will go, why would they do that? Especially in Kentucky. Let me explain to you. There are parts of Kentucky where people have an obsession with the military, to the point where there are people that will come up to you and talk to you as if they are actual factual veterans because once upon a time they were in ROTC. Yeah. Witnessed it firsthand myself, and I was shooketh. Like, what? Wait, what? It is. Harley, it is. It's crazy. Hold on, wait a second. I mean, and I don't mean, I'm not gonna say I don't mean to laugh at him because I was absolutely I do. Cause what you mean? What? Let me hold on. I'm gonna drop it. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in the Discord in our general chat. And for those that wanted the pictures of the dine out only, the carry out only pancake place, that's over in the Discord too. I told y'all the next time we went past that place, I was gonna get pictures. And Babe was so kind because he slowed down so I could get pictures of this. It. Yeah. And hold on real quick. Let me. Shall listen. Shall listen. All right. Okay. If anybody over on the YouTube side wants in, Harley, I just modded you. So if you want into the Discord over, because I think Jess is on the TikTok side, Harley can let you in. But Representative Thomas Massey, Republican out of Kentucky, had a friendly crowd. He must have gave him some food or some liquor in Kentucky, because a friendly Kentucky crowd is either full to the brim and the itis is creeping up behind them, or they liquored up. Mhm. A keynote time slot in the praise of a local state lawmaker to introduce him as the archetype of conservatism. What? You know what? We don't archetype of conservatism. It wasn't until 18 minutes into his remarks, which meandered from his days in local government to the drudgery of legislation in Washington, D.C., that Massey nonchalantly pivoted to President Donald Trump Sr., the man trying to end his career in Congress. By the way, Massey told the roughly 75 people who turned out here last week for the Grant County Republican Party's Lincoln Reagan Day dinner. 75 people in Kentucky is a blowout, okay? Thank you, Holly. It is a blowout, okay? Because people in Kentucky don't like people in Kentucky, and getting folks in Kentucky out the house outside of the county fairs, baby, it ain't happening. And really, it's not even all the days of the county fair. It's the day of the county fair. Well, it's the demolition derby between the police department and the fire department, and I'll let y'all guess as to who they cheer for. Mm-hmm. I vote with the GOP, regardless of what you see on TV, 91% of the time. But in the 9% of the time, if they're covering up for pedophiles, bankrupting the country, or starting another war, I don't vote that way. I'm on the right track, baby. I don't vote this way. But every other time, I just told the line. But that 9%, baby, I don't vote this way. Now, are there a lot of conservatives in Kentucky on paper? Yes. That they will tell you that they are staunch conservative Republicans. Do they live a conservative life? No. Do they understand what conservatism is? No. No. Mm-mm. Because the biggest enjoyers of gay man on man coitus are people that would argue you to the grave and beyond. Like they will go get a Ouija board and conjure you up to continue to argue with you that gay boy on boy sex is a sin and it's wrong. Now, when you ask them what congregation they belong to, they don't have one. And a lot of them will just latch on to any church or any religion that will let them in the door and will give them a plate on whatever day of worship it is. But he's on the right track, baby. He don't vote this way. Now, Trump is not like Massey because on the biggest talking points that Trump has, Massey has given him pushback. He legitimately has. And there are a lot of people that are not conservatives, not Republican, that are like cheering on Massey. But I need y'all to stop. Just like I tell people, stop giving everybody invitations to the cookout because they do one thing that's pleasing to you. You got to look at the whole picture. You got to put all the puzzle pieces together. Okay, then sit back and look at it and decide whether or not you're going to knock it off the table again or what. Like, that's like that one coworker that gets under everybody's skin, but they can cook and they clean. And then, when it's potluck time, you like, well, I know I can eat Deborah's food. That does not make Deborah queen of the office. That just means on potluck day, we smile at her and go, hey, how you doing? and get a little scoop or something. That's it. That's it. We have to stop. When somebody decides to stand on the correct side of history every 3 to 5 business years, that's not enough. That's that's not enough, and we're not gonna make it enough. Okay, we are not Smokey's mama. We can't keep taking $2 worth of effort and making it enough. No, it's no longer 1993. $2 can't even get you gas, baby. It can get you good. Now I don't know how far that is gonna get you, but we need a full song. I have to sit and think about that one. A lot of these little things that I come up with is right off the top of my head. I'll work on that. Just remind me. And like I found out earlier today, while in a planning meeting, if y'all don't know, your girl will be on one of the keynote speakers. I will be rounding out a weekend of wonderful, wonderful educators in Ohio for a conference in June. And I realized in one of the planning meetings this morning, because I don't pay attention to dates, okay, and not really days of the week. So when I'm putting together my schedule, I just put it together as to, okay, I got time here, I got time here. I've scheduled myself accidentally off half the day tomorrow. So it's going down. Okay, what shenanigans y'all want? Let me know. Put it in the Discord. We'll get her done tomorrow. We will get her done tomorrow because we got time. We got time. We don't know. We don't know when's the next time I'm gonna have a pleasant oopsie doodle like this. Because I was going through the calendar like, what? I got half the day off? So yeah. These last $2, I'm gonna lose. Yes. So gotta sell an arm and a leg for gas now. Yes, exactly. Like, yeah. We mm-mm. Whichever one of the Discord mods are over on TikTok, if you could get the Discord link over to Nana J for me, please, that'd be greatly appreciated. Hey, Jay. Hi, my lovely. How you doing? And just to remind y'all, okay? I know she darn near everybody, Nana, at this point. I understand that. I respect that. Still the favorite. um Now, I think this we know Trump is still trying to lie his way out of the AI Trump Jesus thing, okay? And I have some thoughts regarding that coming later. I'm trying to decide what platform. I think I just may put it into the audio podcast that I try to keep like to 5 minutes or less. So like if you're at work, you can just listen to a little quib real quick. And it's also attached to the Patreon page. It's free. Y'all know most of the stuff I try to do is free. If I charge for it, that means there's a lot that went into it, and I had to come out of pocket a little bit. But even still, I try to keep everything under $10 as much as possible. But his idea of recovering from the AI Trump Jesus picture, then let me remind you, his base creates these pictures, knowing that it'll get into his sphere, and he will more than likely repost it because there was even a final supper Trumpsis. Okay, that's what we're gonna call him, Trumpsis. So the DoorDash fiasco didn't work. Okay, it was. We're gonna come back and talk about that. So this is what he decided to do. Once again, true news. They're saying some guy made it like 4 months ago. Yeah, a lot of the pictures that are getting into Trump's sphere have been around for a while, like the Trumpsis as the Pope, Trumpsis final supper, Last Supper, like all that. It's ridiculous. But Trump posted a picture of Jesus hugging him days after his AI deity image drew widespread anger. am not on the PR team for Jesus, okay? I do not collect a check for that. All right, all right. But I do think it's pretty safe to say Trump does not have Jesus' telephone number. Jesus is not on the main line. Trump can't tell him what he wants, okay? Um, if we were to ask Trump where he going when his days are done, it's not going to be up yonder, okay? I'm pretty sure if Trump borrowed somebody else's phone to call Jesus, Jesus would be like, new phone, who this? Just hugging him. Let's go. President Donald Trump Sr. has posted an image of Jesus embracing him to his Truth Social account just days after widespread backlash over an image he shared depicting him as the Messiah. The new image, which appears to be AI generated and was originally posted on X by a Trump supporter, depicts Jesus with an arm around Trump's shoulder and one hand on his chest in front of a halo of light and the American flag, which is not new. They've been doing this for a while because there was one where I think Jesus was Chuck Norris. There was another one where Jesus was Charles Manson. But they want to tell you that MAGA is the faction of the GOP that's all Jesus. I don't think so. All I know is this is one time I can't get in trouble because I'm not involved in the shenanigans. Don't worry about me. I'm gonna be all right. Got God all over my life. Never saying was a sinner where we came from. But if anybody asks him where he's going soon, it won't be up yonder. It won't be up yonder. It won't be up yonder. 'Cause the Lord don't know him. Oh. They got Jesus is everything except tired. Straight to the devil's front porch. Baby, listen. Baby, he is going to be a resident of the Morning Star Inn, the Morning Star Motel. For those who don't know why I'm saying Lucifer Morningstar. Lucifer, Prince of the Underworld. Hate is, depending on what religion, what mythology you ascribe to, there you go. But let's double back for a minute. Let's keep in mind, Trump is the same person who publicly said that he was impressed and felt that his youngest son, Barron, was a genius because Barron knew how to turn a laptop on. Hey, Infernal. I wish I was joking because Trump got upset, felt like Barron was on the computer too long when he was younger, and went to cut the laptop off. And he was like, yeah, Barron just cut it back on. He's such a genius. I need you to keep that in mind to let you know the technical prowess of Ed DeGumpf. All right? All right. So these are his followers, his supporters, his sycophants that are making these images. Notice that they don't have smoke for each other and they're not calling each other blasphemous because they are sharing these things all over the place, especially in their self-proclaimed, self-perceived safe space. Yes, being very facetious with this, of Truth Social, where truth goes to slowly be tortured to death. They don't call each other blasphemous. And they would not have had a problem with Trump depicting himself as Christ if certain evangelicals would not have been forced to speak up because their congregants that are not MAGA but still Christian nationalists wouldn't have had a problem with it. I said what I said. Argue with the maggot about it, not me. Well, my 6-year-old granddaughter is beyond genius. She found the Disney Channel at age 3. Yeah. Like, all these people aren't really outraged. These are the same people who enjoyed and shared so many pictures of the golden Trumpses at CPAC during his first term. These are the same people that were like, yes, we should vote Trump as the first American POTUS when we still hadn't fully let Pope Francis' body chill in the grave. They turned Trump into the Pope, into the pontiff, and they were posting it, reposting it all over the place. They've said on and offline that Trump is their Lord and Savior. Yeah, Tazzy Farms remembers, and I'm going to remind y'all. These are the people who said that the only reason that they're jumping ship now is because the people that they grift off the most because of their faux Christianity are like, wait a minute, hold up. It was okay when we were just tweeting this, when we were just saying this, but he's not supposed to say it. And they don't really have a problem with Trump being depicted as Christ. They have a problem with him displaying it and lacking humility while doing it. That's it. That's all. Case closed. And what do I mean by they're grifting off of it? Because I need y'all to think about all of the faux Christians. If you say certain things and all of a sudden they're backing you. Oh, we got to save them. They are Christian. They are Christian. If you say, oh, these demons are coming at, they're going to back you. Oh, it was the spirit up. They're going to back you. Because if you notice, the faux Christians never have a fault. They never need to take accountability, but everybody needs to take accountability for them. They never do anything wrong. It's always a demon, a spirit. They're under attack. What do they love to say the most? When you are giveth the most is required of you. Baby, you giving me a big headache. That's all it is. They grift continuously. I remember sitting in a church one time, and a person that it was obvious the Lord did not call them to the ministry. They called themselves from inside the house because they were one of those people that believed that as soon as you become a minister, the money and the women come flocking to you. If you don't think that exists, baby, it does. And they gave a sermon centered around the show Lucifer. Now, I have watched the show. I found it quite enjoyable. It was hilarious. And it was in accordance to what's in the Bible itself if you read it correctly and you're not reading it with a bias. You can tell this person never watched the show, but they knew the trigger words to get it. Hey, hallelujah. Take your time, preacher. Take your time. Oh, yes. And after the sermon, said minister came up to me and asked me what I thought. And I said, I thought that it was a shame that he was in the Lord's house trying to grift the Lord's people. He got offended. Next time he preached, he invited me back. I went because got to see it through, my boy. Got to see it through. Second sermon was essentially a campaign speech. And I told him as such. Then the reasoning for him inviting me back so many times, he just knew I was going to date him and be his first lady. Now, I don't know what church he was going to be the pastor of. Maybe First Baptist of what the fuck you doing, but okay. And they always have a Bible verse to support their behavior if they are called out. Yeah, and usually it's not even really a Bible verse. It's a church saying that they swear up and down as a Bible verse because they ain't never cracked the Bible open. Hallelujah. We're going to pass the collection plate around in a minute. And then we're going to have a selection from the youth choir. But yeah, this was somebody who didn't think that I actually paid attention and read the Bible. He thought that I was one of those women that the life had whooped my ass and I was going to go to the church house to find a mate. Baby, no. I go to the church house to hide from potential mates. Well, that is their grit. That is their grit. Because that's all you got to say. Or something they cherry picked and decided this is what it. Oh yeah. Oh yes, Ninja, and especially eat snack. Yes, yes, I do. Mm-hmm. And if it's a long day at church, I might pull out a whole sandwich or a piece of chicken and sit and eat it. I'll be hungry. I need my strength. Yes, the Lord strengthens me through snacks. Well, yeah, they sit and they grift the hell out of one another. And oh yes, for those, yes, I did take a break from the Epstein Maxwell Files update series because it gets taxing. Um, and because I was doing that series with all the updates from the Epstein files and everything coming out from all around the globe, plus going through the book Perversion of Justice, it takes a toll and it gets heavy. So the learning through literacy portion of going through the book will resume tonight. It'll be approximately 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, just because Wednesdays I do have class. And remember, this class, one week is taught by my dad, another week is taught by my uncle. And if you can't tell, my family can talk, baby. We can talk. We're gonna be thorough when we teach you, but we can talk. We some talkers, we some yappers, okay? Um, so we will resume, and tomorrow we will resume. It's exclusively on YouTube at TazJ77. The Epstein / Maxwell Files updates. I don't want y'all to think that I just abandoned it or this was something, for clicks, likes, and views. It wasn't. Just like I tell y'all, take a step back, do things. I take the same advice. I tell you all the time, I don't give advice that I don't live myself. Okay. So I had to take a step back. I knew a lot of the details. Learning more details, it did kind of shake my soul a little bit and rattle my spirit, and I had to take some time and regroup. So we're going through there. Update on the blanket. There's a few videos up on my TikTok page at TazJ15 that shows the progress of the blanket. I have a yarn roller, and I've rolled up the bits and pieces of yarn that I didn't use in the main body of it to make the first border. So transporting it right now is kind of difficult, and I don't want to undo it. I miss you too, Cushion. Now, y'all remember Claudia Steinbaum, right? Right? El Presidente of Mexico. We love this queen. We love her down. Okay, we love her down. And here's a prime example of why. Claudia Sheinbaum and Donald Trump Sr. seem to have a pretty contentious relationship. I think she loves to tell him no. I think she's telling him no and to go F himself into like a game. I'm pretty sure they passed out bingo cards down in Mexico and different ways that she can tell him to go screw off. They get to click off the box. Oh, the Trump cabinet bingo cards are in the Discord as well. Tomorrow, I'm going to do my best overnight and tomorrow to make Trump administration bingo cards. 2026 bingo cards. Just going beyond just Trump, because I can't even predict what he would do. Since Donald Trump Sr. first announced that he was running for president, he has made Mexico one of the central targets of his ire. His original pitch was very much about curbing illegal immigration across America's southern border, and while not all of those immigrants come from Mexico originally, all of them eventually travel through the country. Given how vocal Trump Sr. has been about Mexico as a source of American problems, it's only natural that Trump would have a somewhat contentious relationship with Mexico's president, Claudia Sheinbaum. Now, although the two of them have largely kept things courteous in public appearances together, it's clear that Mexico no longer sees the U.S. as a close and reliable ally. Since Trump Sr. retook office, Scheinbaum has walked a fine line with the president, cooperating with the administration's attempts to target cartels in Mexico, even as she has often offered fairly harsh rebukes for some of his policies, especially as they pertain to Mexican citizens. In April of 2026, she started to take a harder line on Trump Sr. because of the mounting deaths of Mexican citizens in U.S. custody and the news that U.S. will be instituting an energy blockade against Cuba after the death of 49-year-old Mexican citizen Alejandro Cabrera Clemente in an ICE facility in Louisiana. Scheinbaum offered her harshest words yet for the president. Mexico's government called the 15 deaths of Mexican citizens in ICE custody unacceptable and said the ICE's detention facilities were incompatible with human rights standards and the protection of life. Scheinbaum also said that she would be launching investigations into all 15 deaths and instructed Mexican consulates to visit detention centers daily. She said, "You're not going to mess with my people." And here's something that Trump and his regime have forgotten. When you're holding citizens of other countries, keep in mind that they have consulates. They can go check on those people. And you can't control their reach and their descriptions, and they're getting out the truth of your facilities and the treatment within. Scheinbaum said, play with somebody else. Play with somebody else. Play with somebody else. I'm just waiting for her to be like, okay, if we so messed up down here in Mexico, why your people running over here? Just like on the flip side, the northern border. For the Canadians that call themselves MAGA, that are Trump supporters, leave Canada and come over here. Show your true support. Go through the immigration process. Come on over here. Y'all keep saying that, oh, we can't stand the universal health care up here. It's so horrible. We got to come over here. Y'all saying that Trump is doing everything correctly with everything, the economy, health care. Come over here. Come on, move in. We'll scoot y'all. Come on. Sit right here. Sit right here. Come on. Come on. And speaking of conditions in the United States, there is now on the West Coast a fully automated AI, if you will, restaurant. And they said they're using robots and AI because they just can't get people to fulfill the spots. And they're trying to act as if working in fast food is just so dangerous. Okay. The way they describe it, you would think that it was like boot camp for firefighters. Okay. Now they say it's not cost effective for us to, pay a livable wage. But you're going to spend millions of dollars to fully automate everything. And here's my thing. It cannot be sanitary because you have plastic and metal bits under extreme heat. Who's going in to do the regular maintenance? Like, you can't afford to pay $15 to $20 an hour because you say that's going to drive the cost of everything else up. No, it's just because you're greedy. But you could spend millions of dollars just for the hardware. Just for the hardware to set this up. Then throw in a couple more $100,000 for the brick and mortar building. Then about another $1 million for the software and programming. And the staff behind the scenes that you're going to have to keep on call, aka on retainer, to go in at the drop of a dime, which means somebody is going to essentially have to give up their life because they're going to have to do everything within like a 45-minute radius of that facility to go in and fix anything that needs to be fixed because they want to keep that business up and running. So who's this helping? And I saw a few of the comments was like, yeah, I can't wait until everything is run by robots. Pump your brakes. So if everything is run by robots, that means that the consumers are no longer also the workers. So if you don't work, you don't have any money. So who's going to pay for all of this? I'll wait. You want to replace humans in the workforce, the humans that you need to bring their money into there and buy your goods and services. So if you replace everybody and no one can work, when I told y'all that the runners, the heads of these conglomerates don't think, and they don't think past tomorrow's payout, I wasn't joking. And when it all goes down, they're going to pay 3 times the amount. Exactly. Ooh, Annabelle with the herb garden. Yeah. They don't think past the next quarter. They don't think long term. This is why you have cities and counties that are so dilapidated right now when they're like, oh, let's lobby to get these restrictions pulled back, and they end up destroying the natural resources that they need, not just for their company to run and be sustained, but for the health of the people they need to work in those companies and then buy the goods and services that come out of it. They will destroy their own bases. Once everything's automated, then what? Then what? Just pay the people. And for those that are like, well, minimum wage jobs were for high schoolers. No, minimum wage. Use your smarticle particles here, okay? Flex them out. Come on, let's stretch them. Is the minimum amount someone can be paid where they can sustain themselves. Okay? Okay. Also, let's talk about this real quick, because as technology changes and different opportunities arise, I need people to stop having this continuous knee-jerk reaction to tell someone that their livelihood, their career path is not real. And what do I mean? Way back yonder, before it was popular, before it was more commonplace to work from home, when I first started my business, myself and a longtime family friend who was starting a business also, we looked into getting a brick and mortar office space, and we got one that we could split. And for a while we did, but then we realized we weren't getting clients to come in. Each time we were either going to them or they just wanted meetings over, this is during the time of Skype, over Skype or over the phone, or they just wanted to email us stuff, get her done. So I'm like, why am I paying this to do it? Now, it did kind of work out for us because it was during a time where there were a lot more regional fashion shows, variety shows, stuff like that. So we started subletting it out for people to have auditions and model calls and stuff like that. So we turned a profit. I definitely feel like someone is going to figure out how to hack those robots for free food. Oh, yeah. I wasn't going to say that out loud, but you just remember, it wasn't me. If anybody hacks or finds out that a fully automated restaurant that has wings or a good cheeseburger and a good crispy thick fries gets it, it wasn't me. Okay, we was all together making s'mores. You understand me? You understand? Okay. But no, so we both decided, you know, we can just work from home. It made sense. And then I was like, well, I no longer have to pay people to get my kids. I could drive my kids to school, from school. I could transport them to and from their activities. And I saved a lot more money. And I got more time with my kids. The amount of times people would bring me the classifieds out of the newspaper sit there and talk about me not having a job, all this stuff. Then in the midst, I had two family members that started working from home. One was working from home for an insurance company, and I knew that because my bestie from high school was their boss. Nobody said anything. It's just the chatter stopped. And I'm like, interesting. Now we have people who are making content creation their full-time jobs. And once again, we're having, that's not real. Please stop. Please stop. Because once upon a time, the career, the job that you have right now, somebody said the same thing about it. We have to roll with the times. We keep joking about the silent generation and especially boomers, rightfully so, but too many of us still have a taint. Check your messages, Professor Moriarty. Still have a taint of that boomer mindset where anything new we want to push back on. We want to claim that it's not real. We want to claim that it's not viable. Anything's viable if you work on it. There was a point in time where people were like, a secretary? What you mean? That's not a real job. What you need a surgeon for? We just need babies for birthing. Plastic surgery. Oh, research. You gonna do homework? No, we don't need that. Astronaut, you gonna play in space? That's not real. Budget? Nah, I'm not paying for you to go to school to live in the class. Every career that somebody said that. So I need you to be more welcoming. And a lot of times it's due to ignorance. And I'm going to say this again. It is never too late to learn about something. Ask. Y'all know part of my research is talking to people. And I love to hear about people's jobs. I love to hear about people's careers. I'm that person you want to talk about. And I'm not talking about when people are like, oh, talking about just the perks of your job or who you can't stand at work. No, if you want to talk about like the technicalities of your job, I may not understand every bit, but I'm a good listener. I will ask questions because I genuinely want to know. But just ask. Learn about it. Once upon a time, virtually everybody was living in log cabins. And then somebody was like, you know what, we could add some more floors to this. We could design it a little different and, personalize it a little bit. And there was somebody like, we don't need that. Look at them. This ain't a real job. And now we have architects. So it needs to stop. And real quick, to the person, 4 times in 1 week that I have not spoken to since the middle of COVID lockdown. And even then, you were just asking for my services or for me to pay for things, to, without any warning, sending me money request on PayPal. Please stop. Because if you do it again, I am going to say your name fully and I'm going to post the screenshots. Please stop. Yes, I've helped you before, but I stopped when I realized the only time I hear from you is when you have a want. Not even a need, a want. So please stop. When I get some extra coins, it'll be going to people who truly need it. Not you, dear heart. Not you, Bookie Butt. It's on TikTok, in your inbox on TikTok. Professor. Hold on. Okay, that's not in the United States. Sorry. Got a breaking news report regarding an outbreak. That's not it. Okay. All right. Trump urges extending FISA program as some lawmakers push for privacy protections for Americans. Congress is set to take up the reauthorization of a division program that lets U.S. spy agencies pore over foreigners' calls, text, and email. Supporters like President Donald Trump Sr. saying it has saved lives, while critics point to the longstanding concerns about warrantless surveillance of Americans. And I want y'all to realize the vetting process for who they should be surveilling is virtually non-existent. Now, remember, I told y'all we're expanding some things around here, and I did tell y'all that today is Wisdom Wednesday. So there was no one better that I could think of for the first ever, the inaugural, the Taz Effect, Wisdom Wednesdays, than one of the wisest men that I know, Professor Moriarty. Hey, big bro.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited. I've been trying to figure out how to get you on the show, and I figured this was a great thing. Now, I know these things about you, but I know a lot of people don't. So where should we start? Let's start with your advocacy for men's health.
I do a lot of work for men's mental health, and I have worked with men of color, because I've worked for Black-led organizations who find it harder to access mental health because of institutional racism. So they tend not to go to their GPs, general practitioners, family doctors, and they tend not to want to get help with their mental health because it's seen by many, a Black man, as a weakness. So a lot of men I've worked with have used substances to stop themselves feeling vulnerable, sad, emotional. And these are men that have turned to substances that have changed their lives, led to them going to prisons, things like this. So when they come to me, I will assess them fully, identify their needs, identify, any sort of, safety issues, things like this. Then I would sit with them one-to-one. And I've had men sit in front of me and cry because it's the first time somebody's reached into them and said, "How is it for you?" and created a safe space. And then either given them access to one-to-ones with myself, and also I facilitate groups. And I touch into the subject of emotional intelligence. In other words, it's okay to cry, it's okay to emote, it's okay to feel, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to open up. Then off the back of this, I provide what they call psychosocial interventions. So I'll treat them as an individual, often for the first time in their lives, and find out what they need to progress. So it could be helping them get education, training, and employment, helping them get access to housing, helping them with employment training, helping them with access to financial welfare, I think you say there, and signpost them to psychologists, psychotherapists, and also organizations that help with substance use, and then work together with them and the professional that's working with them alongside myself, and advocate in everything they need to get more help. And also work with local government to make them aware who is less likely to get help and why. In the UK, parts of the UK, you can be, if you're a Black man or Black woman, 3% of the population, but 90% of people who are more likely to be offered high drugs, more likely to be misdiagnosed, more likely to be, I know one gentleman, for example, who was autistic, but they diagnosed him as being paranoid schizophrenic and was put in the mental health unit for 6 months. And it turned out there was nothing like that wrong with him. Talking therapy would have done.
Yeah. We do have one question coming in. Well, a couple of questions. Let's start with this one. Do you do analytic therapy?
Describe that. Well, analytic. We might call it something else here.
Describe what you mean. The second question, while we wait for the person, because that comes from Way to Go, for him to expand on that. Have you seen any progress thus far with your work?
Yes, only because there's more and more people that are being taken on and trained up who have lived experience. I can go into something called cognitive behavioral therapy, if that helps answer the question. So what that is identifying coping mechanisms and identifying what your behavior patterns are when you're going into any sort of mental health crisis. What are your triggers? What are your trigger points? What are your behavioral patterns when you're likely to maybe go into a temper or an outburst of any kind? And often what feeds into this is anxiety. Often it starts off as anxiety, which turns into fear, which becomes anger, because men are not very good at processing fear or sadness. So it becomes an angry outburst, which is normally a sign that they need help.
All right. Way to Go expands and says it's analytic therapy it's therapy that Freud popularized and emphasis on engaging the subconscious.
Yes. Something I have done is parts work. So they call it shadow work, and they call it, a lot of men who have been through trauma, for example, it does often go back to childhood. And often what happens is, in times of anger, distress, and things like this, we notice that if we get angry, there's a sort of childlike entity, a sort of, it's not fair. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you treating me like this? Especially if we've been abused and things like this. And our outbursts, if you look for certain words, can come out in a childlike way. This is then, I would refer to a psychotherapist and a psychologist to then do work on getting it diagnosed properly. Then you can end up being diagnosed with things like complex PTSD, because this is when it does go back to childhood. And this is when what happens is your whole psychological makeup is changed. You become hyper aware to people's behavior around you, eye movements, facial movements, tone of voice, things like this. And this can inform how we act in those circumstances around certain people. It affects our relationships, for example. If what could be an argument, we who have been through this look out for the uh-oh, here we go moments. So a phrase that may be said, a word that may be said, something that may be something that reminds us of our past. And in our mind, when that here we go moment turns, we think we're speaking to the person in front of us. But what we're speaking to is the abusive times in our past. We are informed by that. So we answer in kind. Our whole mental processes of our reality gets changed. And then afterwards, when the argument's done, we realize we've said something or exploded in a certain way, and then we will apologize profusively. So it's analyzing these behavioral patterns that develop in our minds and know how they affect us. But we have to do that by speaking to the other person. So we use active listening and we use something called the Columbo technique. And it's known as a sort of questioning technique. So it's things like, when did it start for you? How is your day today? Maybe a good question, rather than how are you? You try to avoid yes, no answers.
Okay.
So it's a type of questioning. I may say to you, make sure you come in, have the best seat, not just a seat. And I may say to you, how did you feel when you woke up this morning?
Also,
And then
more open-ended questions to
it's
give
more
them.
open-ended question. And then I will use my listening to think of certain words. And if I'm looking for suicide ideation, one thing I will not expect somebody to say is, I want to end myself. I'm trying to be careful what I say here. So what will be said is, I'm tired, really tired. I'm really tired. Even getting out of bed is an exhaustive thing. Even trying to look out the window is exhausted. The thought of this can be really exhaustive. So I would then say, how tired are you?
Okay.
If I get an 8 out of 10 scale, in my mind, it's because they're so tired, they can't even face waking up, which means they want to sleep. How much do you want to sleep? If they talk about sleeping and not wanting to wake up, then I'll ask things like, what are you willing to do for this to happen? That's when I will have another phone in my hand thinking, phone the emergency and mental health services.
Okay.
Because that is when they're going to act. And this is what people need to realize. It's not I want to end it. It's I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I can't do this anymore. I can't even get out of bed. I can't even look at anybody, talk to anybody. I just want to be left alone. If you've got them in isolation, ask the direct question, which I won't repeat on here. Ask them directly if they would do it. Get them thinking about it. Get them thinking about the consequences of doing it. So ask them directly, would you do it? How would you do it? When would you do it?
And I'm glad you brought up the language to look for. I
Yeah.
want to segue into intimate abuse and men and boys. What is language or behavior the rest of us can look for in order to know when to broach that topic, to ask if someone has been or is currently being intimately abused? Because I think with men, it's something that either is taken too lightly or people just don't know the signs to look for.
First, there's masking. It's trying to come across as tough, strong, solid. Trying to come across, in a man's case, as masculine as possible. But then, which is why I mentioned the questioning technique, they start to show cracks. They start to show tears when recalling certain things. They start to look down. They start to look away. They lose their gaze. And then they start to recall things that have hurt them in their past when they do this. Now, there's been cases when a guy has said to me, am I to blame? Is it my fault? Did I let it happen? I should have stopped it. They're blaming themselves. It's then you reassure them, nothing you did made this happen. Nothing you did caused this to happen. And there's been occasions when they've actually started crying in front of me, and then automatically, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be doing this. it's at that moment I say, please don't apologize. And I've even thanked them. Thank you. Why? Because I've obviously created a safe space where they feel able to show emotion and cry in front of me. And I've also thanked them for coming into the space. You've come into the space. You've then seen it's a trusted space. You're now showing your true self to me. Thank you so much. Do you wish to carry on? Because it can become so overwhelming that once they tap into that space where they start recalling, it's like it's like an open faucet. The water, it just all comes flooding out. You've got to be careful to control the space. And then finally, what I would do in that occasion is when they've stopped recalling, say, are you safe to leave this space? The ideation I want to be able to know is there. Are they going to leave and go and leave the space without them doing anything to themselves, is how I'll put it.
Now, you do so much advocacy work, but through your desire to be a proper advocate, not someone who just says it, but someone who does the work, you, as a member, the second in command of the Villains Guild, also have yet another coalition of people, the Outcast Nation. Would you like to tell the people what Outcast Nation is?
The Outcast Nation is a group of people who have felt in their lives they've been kept outside of society. And for one reason or another, I've been isolated in their past and had this ideation that society doesn't like them for whatever reason, has mistreated them, has not understood them. And we are a group of people who advocate for people in that situation where they feel voiceless, they feel they can't be what they want to be, they feel there's no help there for them, and we advocate for them, but we are true to what we say and what we believe. We are true to how we say it, and we say it without any filter, because our truth has to represent their truth. And we will do it with education, and we will do it with full knowledge of what we're talking about, because we don't want to be picked apart for not saying the right thing in the right way. But we're not apologetic in being forceful in how we say things and why and how important it is. And if anyone feels they've been outcasted in this way and they want to follow a movement where we will be there for you, and we support each other as well, then contact me or other members, contact Taz, and we'll sort something out.
And I know some people watching may think that because they see you speak up, that it comes with ease. But if you don't mind sharing a bit of your journey into how you found your voice and your ability to speak up, not just for others, but also for yourself.
Well, I had to do a lot of, and still am doing a lot of self-work. And believe it or not, some of you may not know this, some of you may know, but when I was going through terrible times, I used to practice by talking into a phone. It became a therapeutic tool. And then I would watch myself teaking on here and thinking, at first it was very sort of erratic and emotional and angry and things like this. And Thomas met me when I used to breathe fire and be very sort of emotionally charging and things like this. My personal story of recovery started when my wife stripped me down to my bare essentials, because I was deep into addiction, suicide ideation, recovering from my own CSA multiple times. And my wife said to me, right, first step starts with you going to your family doctor and saying, I need help with this. And then from there, I joined a recovery group, an alcohol recovery group. And in my case, it was alcohol and drugs. And we would be encouraged to sit in a circle and speak our truths. Well, I was open and honest, as you see me on here. And that led to me becoming something called a peer mentor, or, a peer leader, where I was encouraged to train to learn how to advocate for others and encourage them to come forward into recovery. From there, I got counseling. And then from there, I was encouraged to volunteer with a Black-led organization, where I built myself up to becoming a recovery and support practitioner, which means I am level 3 of 4 qualified, 4 being the top level, 3 being just underneath. And I did what they call psychosocial interventions, where I would identify the person's individual needs and build a whole circle of help around them. I then became last year a qualified lead health and social care operative with merit, which basically means I got an A+. And I became something called a mental health first aider, which means I'm able to go into, let's say somebody gets arrested or they're about to get arrested. Excuse me. The police are then able to call on my services to calm the person down. And I can sit into interviews with them and things like this. I also do outreach work alongside what they call community enforcement officers, which is sort of like community police. And I also work with local community teams and identify hotspots. And I do a lot of outreach work where I find men and women who have been forced into taking on work. Can I say sex work, things like this, and being fed onto drugs and made to do terrible things and made to go into what they call trap houses, where they're disgusting places where they just sit there and partake, and the women are made to do things to encourage other users to come into that space. So I have to identify these spaces and get the people help. And my work alongside the police officers and that is, think of it as a good cop, bad cop. You can either deal with the law or you can listen to me and I can help you. And if you don't listen to me, I'm setting the police onto you. Simple as that. And there's parts of East London I'm known as the general because of that, because I command the troops to follow me into spaces where they don't know about. And I'm there to say, let me help you, or they'll deal with you. Now you know.
Now, for those that feel like they have not found their voice, what is the advice that you have for them?
Be true to yourself. Be true to who you are, and be true to what you want others to know about you. Don't hide your inner self, because there's always an inner voice within us that wants to reach out and tell other people how we are. Second, I would say, find the one safe person. Doesn't have to be a therapist. It could be a friend, although I would advocate for that. It could be a friend, a very close friend, and somebody who will listen without judgment and just be there. And I talk about empathy versus sympathy. Empathy is just, I'm here. Sympathy is, oh, sorry about that. I'm sorry you feel so bad. In other words, you're talking about your own feelings rather than the other person. But be true to yourself at all times and how you feel, and find spaces, safe spaces where you can either speak about that, or you can journal, or you can do art, drawing, music. So what I've done is I've signposted people to these spaces so they can find out what's going on. Sometimes if you journal or draw things or listen to music, you find something inside yourself that wants to recite what's going on for you. So that's my thing. Be true to yourself.
Now, I know this about you. Because we're both on one accord with this. To not shy away from your mistakes, but to learn from them. Don't beat yourself up because you had a misstep, because you misspoke. It is not the end all to be all. But
No,
we know humans are humans and humans are going to human. What advice do you have for people who get so hard on themselves because of a mistake? How can they work their way out of not just beating themselves down because of a mistake?
identify what you perceive the mistakes to be. Identify the steps you made in yourself, and then learn from them. So if you have been led into spaces where you've done things you regret, and I have, don't shy away from somebody telling you, if they're a close person, which is why I always say identify the one who will give it to you straight and tell you what these things are. Now, outside of my wife, this was Thomas. I kid you not. He saw something in me, this brash, fire-breathing person who was coming back at him. And at first he was, who is this guy? What's going on? Why is he having a... And then we would have discussions outside, and then we would, we found out we had a lot in common, and this is what it was like. He told me about myself. I told him about himself. We learned things about each other. You learn from your mistakes. We are supposed to make mistakes, because how can you learn if you just go across as Mr. Perfect or Mrs. Perfect all the time, or how you identify? You've got to be true to yourself. You've got to be honest with yourself. So, for example, I'm training to become a therapist, but I'm also doing therapy myself, because how can you do the process of putting someone else through the therapeutic conversation if you yourself don't understand the process of how it works? And to do that, you've got to look at yourself and go through everything, your part in everything, what you did right, what you did wrong, and how you can put these things right in yourself, not just for yourself, but for those around you.
Now, we've gotten through all of the very, very important things. Yes, absolutely. But what comes with wisdom is balance.
Yeah.
People have seen you quite buttoned up, quite dignified, quite demure. Okay. Now we're going to introduce people to the Professor Moriarty that I know. Okay. So we're going to have some fun with this. And, all right, TikTok. I flipped the camera because I wanted y'all to really pay attention to his words, but I'm back on camera now. Here we go. Favorite type of music?
I do listen to trance music, and I do listen to some hip hop as well. Only certain types, though. Things like Gangster's Paradise is one, for example, because it's real. It's not about bigging up the life. It's about, being quite the opposite. Things that take my mind to a different place. Things that take my mind to a place where I can be more myself, maybe smile a bit more.
Oh, yes, everybody, flood in your questions with everything you want to know about Professor Moriarty. Nana J wants to know, do you dance?
I have done. Yes, I have done. I have danced quite a bit, especially in the past when I've had too much incitement by substances, let's say. I've been known to get down a bit.
Favorite movie type? What genre movie do you like?
Oh, blimey, I don't have one. One of my favorite films of all time was Heat. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. But I do like horror films.
That's a good one.
Love horror films.
Now, what's your favorite book?
Oh, blimey. Well, I've mentioned it quite a lot on here, which is PTSS by Dr. Joy DeGroy. It was literally life-changing. It taught me about myself. It taught me about, you know, I've mentioned things like epigenetic trauma and things like this, especially for the Black diaspora. We're all predisposed to things that has been passed on by our ancestors, and we have behavioral types that go back to them. For example, Black mothers out there. It mentions in the book there may be times when your kid's walking down the street, they may go 2 yards in front of you outside of your grasp, and you quickly to grab them and say, come back here. Says in the book, it's because we know our children can go missing at a heartbeat where others might not.
Yeah, true.
There you go.
DJ wants to know, do you like the singer Emily Sandé? Ooh, I love her.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That voice.
Yeah. Very powerful voice. She did a song called It Hurts. It's about loving somebody so much it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, hurts you down to the core. That's one of my favorites of hers. I've got it on my collection that I listen to in my ears. I'm not allowed to say the name of the actual app, but you can guess. Yes.
I gotcha. Nana J says, what's your silliest moment?
Oh, blimey. I think it was recently on here when I do enjoy a Sambo hunt, I have to say. Oh.
I knew I was gonna be as soon as I saw the question, I kind of figured I knew what it was gonna be.
when I've collected the information, right, on why they are that way, and I've got them behind me, and I let rip. There's that tune by Tokyo Myers going in the background, which is a powerful tune, and I give it the big one. I love that moment. I really do. I go silly then. And there was one where I was actually smiling from ear to ear, and it was remarked that no one's ever seen me do that. So
yeah. Oh, and everybody saw it. Yeah, and DJ, you are right. He was on fire in those comment sections of Sound of Coffee yesterday. Trisina says, what is the best gift that you were ever given?
This is going to sound corny, but my wife.
You're on a show where my sidekick is a shrimp duck. Nothing sounds corny around here, sir.
She literally stripped me down to the bone and changed my life. And I know we get on each other's nerves a lot because we're both passionate people. But yeah, to me, she was the gift from heaven. She's my 1 in 2 million. So that is my answer.
That was so sweet. Now, your other brother from another mother, Mr. Chaos King, says, what brings you joy? I know I bring you joy, so you better.
Well, I could speak about the couch moment with my missus, but yes. In my professional life, it's seen the look on the other person's face when I've got what they want done. There's people that I've got rehoused, help them to get a job, help them to get therapy, and help them to get financial independence. And when they come to me and thank me off the back of that, that brings me joy because I know I've done what I intended to do.
Now, Inferno coming through with a very on par question for this show. What do you say is the best snack?
Do you have Snickers over there?
Yes, we do.
I love them.
Okay. Okay, Snickers. Who said bring me joy, ma'am? Sir, Mr. Chaos, we live together. I either bring you joy, I'm gonna bring you something else by the end of the night. What Lisette says, what is your favorite food?
Oh, we have something in Jamaica known as curried goat. Curried goat and rice. Absolutely love it.
Oh, yes.
Absolute favorite. But I don't know if you have Jamaican restaurants over there, but the people can be very pleasant, but they can also be very direct. And if you chat stupid, they will let you know.
Well, yeah. Well, me being Bahamian, I'm used to that. But the Jamaican restaurants over here, I crack up the few times we've gone in, and I crack up at the people where I'm like, "You gonna try it, ain't you? They will hit you. Go ahead, go. She gonna hit you with the spoon. Go, do it."
Yeah, there's parts of East London as well, and South London. I don't know if you've heard of Brixton, for example, in South London. They are very, very direct, very in your face, and they don't take foods lightly, you know. So,
Yeah, last summer I ended up on the Brixton side of TikTok.
Yeah.
It was very entertaining for me, traumatizing for other people, but very entertaining for me because I was like, they remind me of some of my aunties. I like it over here. Yeah. I was like, oh, I didn't know y'all was seasoned like this over in the UK. And then they kicked me off because I was like, you know what? My bad. Y'all don't be sending your best representation out, okay? You keep sending out people that just have 50,000 beans and toast recipes. So that's what we see, okay? Don't blame us. And the one chick trying to compare delicacies from the UK and the United States, and I don't think she understands what a delicacy is because this happy heifer said that a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is a delicacy and that we all eat it over here. Lies she tells, because I will starve to death before I eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't like stuff getting stuck to the roof of my mouth. And the only peanut butter I like is confectioner's peanut butter that's dipped heavily in chocolate.
Okay.
That's the closest you're gonna get to me eating peanut butter. There's currently a miniature war going on in my house because somebody who will remain nameless has decided to inform me of their love of the Payday candy bar and brought one into the house.
Oh dear.
But I love them. I love them even through that flaw. I love them. I don't know why you just want to eat peanuts rolled over peanuts, and don't nobody come and tell me there's every ingredient is peanuts. Just who buys a payday? Chaos buys a payday. Yes, it is a diabetes sandwich. It's a payday. Like, no, just no. Ow. Okay. Got one more from Nana J. Would or will you come to the U.S. to visit? Probably after Trump is out of office.
I've been talking to Thomas about spending time in Georgia with him. Yeah, I do want to come out there. And I've got heritage in Georgia, in particular Atlanta. So, yeah. So Shawnee, I've been told is the correct term. Cherokee and Choctaw. So I found this out late in life. My dad told me before he died, told me the name of my grandmother. I was able to do the search because we know that when we're identifying, you get told to identify the lands, the states, the clans, the tribes, and how they connect. So I made sure I got my information down so I could just now quote it without even thinking about it. Because I know that when you're doing the reconnection journey and you're identifying these things, You have to be able to know your stuff, you know. So yeah. I'll try to behave myself and not sample any pie over there. You know what I mean? But
I pay the bill if I could bring a sneaker in there. I mean, a payday.
Oh, I was gonna say the payday eater is here. Nana J says she eats them too. Tracina called them salty nut sticks.
I bought
A diabetes sandwich. What else? What else did they call it? The salty nut stick. And then wait a minute, there's another one. Sticky peanuts. We need to have a GCPR cookout. Yes, we do need to have a GCPR cookout. Nana J says she eats them. So I guess I'm gonna stop criticizing paydays. I'm not. I'm not. Your dad loves payday bar. Yeah, are you noticing a pattern here, DJ? Everybody that claims that they love paydays are well seasoned and could sit in the wine section of the store. If you know how wine is made. I make Buckeyes. Mandy, you're my new bestie. You're going to send him some, Nana J. Jesus Christ. All right. Well, he can have them all to himself. Nana J says she's going to send you some paydays.
I'm going to say chocolate ones too.
Chocolate ones? What are you chocolate? Oh, okay. Well, we lost the good professor, but yeah, great interview. Thank you all. Hopefully, is he back?
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, sorry.
There we go. Okay. So now, getting to know the good professor. Favorite color?
Red, I think. Yeah.
All of y'all just in red. Okay, that's just all right. I like peanut butter. I like peanut butter too. So that's okay. If you say we had the University of Professor Moriarty,
Okay.
choose one course for you to teach, what would it be?
I would say Afro-Caribbean history.
Oh.
I would say Afro-Caribbean history and all the connections to not just how it affected us. For example, in my studies, I found out about Kemet. I found out about the Kemetic Empire and how there was no Middle East originally, that it was a creation that was put aside to separate Africa and allow the colonization forces from the West to take hold. And that entity, which is known as the Middle East, is still being fought over today by those same colonizing forces. And a certain president is trying to extract as much resources out of there as possible because of it. And then they wonder why we talk about Palestine like we're not part of that entity that was the Palestine, that was Palestine, which was part of Kemet. And try and tell them that Yeshua had skin of burnished bronze and hair fleet like wool.
Now, speaking of the orange tangerine that we will not name, the current president over here in the United States, your thoughts on him?
Oh, I'll try and keep this so you don't get kicked off, but he's an absolute a-hole. And I am helping Thomas lead the fight against Christian nationalism. I'm standing by his side. Members of the Outcast Nation are also helping. I've said it's not compulsory. If you'd rather sit on the sidelines and just cheer from the sidelines, that's fine. But we're leading the charge on ending this because it's taking hold in the UK. It's taking hold, I've heard, in Australia. It's taking hold around the world. We need to stop it. So, yeah, I'm on this.
Now, given that it is wisdom, okay, that was weird. Wisdom Wednesdays. I am going to give you center stage. You have 15 minutes to tell the people whatever you would like. I'm going to pull myself and give you the 15 minutes. So this is Professor Moriarty to you.
May what I'm about to say be seen as educational content and not an attack on anybody I may duet, stitch or comment on, is what I normally say. And I would like to say that we should highlight empowering each other. We should highlight empowering each other in every way and not separating ourselves by demigration, by identification, by who we are, what we are, whether it be LGBTQI plus, whether it be male presenting, female presenting, whether it be binary, non-binary, what our faith is, what our beliefs is. Be ourselves at all times and empower yourselves to be the best you can be. Empower yourselves to be not silent in the world. Empower yourselves to be upright and a citizen, and never think you can't change things for the better. Never think you haven't got the power to affect change. To those of you who may be in the United States or wherever you come from, there are laws, policies, and procedures you can use to change things. You don't have to accept what's going on. You don't have to accept being told that you have to live a certain way. You have to pray a certain way. You have to believe a certain thing. You don't have to accept being told you're lower in society than anybody else. Be who you want to be. Create community groups. Identify in your localities the needs you want. Do you have a shortage of mental health? Do you have a shortage of substance use agencies? Do you have a shortage of access to support with health and social care needs? Do you need help with identifying legal support and putting together things to create effective change? Yes, we talk about the No Kings marches, but off the back of it, in my opinion, there needs to be change identified. There needs to be steps put together in what you want presented. It's no good just marching, wearing your rabbit costumes and having kids there and having it like a big party. You need to affect change properly. What steps would I say? Identify community resources like people who would represent you, excuse me. People who would then write down all the steps you need. What changes do you want? Have it properly planned out. Then identify legal support that can take it into the departments. I would suggest the Department of Justice go onto the website and identify what laws and policies, procedures. Things like Pam Bondi. In the past, you could have had her taken down. If you want, I think it's Amendment 25, you call it. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Wherever you are, contact your representative, put together a step program and say, we want that man taken down under Section 25 because he's an absolute idiot. I'm trying my best to be as clean as possible because I don't want Taz to lose her show. So empower yourselves, empower others around you. Don't be made to think that you have to bow down. The reason why the Villains Guild existed in the first place is because those who became the Obsidian Six got together and said no. What you may not realize is at the very beginning, I think it was late 2020, maybe a bit before, the Villains Guild was just me and Thomas. And then there was a time he was going through his own difficulties. The only entity you saw originally was the fire-breathing gentleman dragon. Also, don't be afraid of expressing yourself in no matter what way you see. You may see me with filters on, like the goth makeup with the black lipstick and that and things like that. What you may not know, and I tell you now, is that is inside, that is the real me. I wish I had the guts to walk around like that. And one day I will. Be congruent, be true to you. Be true to the person you need to be. And don't let anyone tell you that you can't enter a field of excellence from the start. I started off as somebody with severe mental health, which I still am dealing with addiction, which I'm still dealing with because it's a journey, and somebody who just had a head full of ideas but nowhere to process it. Be forceful in the field you want to be in. In my field, it was recovery and support. Be forthright in what you want to do. Find an organization that fits or create one. There's things called a community interest company in the UK. I don't know if you have equivalents in the US. Get together with a group of people, create community interest companies, and form organizations that can assist others. Identify the professions you want to be part of that organization. Before you know it, you can change a community. Create wealth, not riches. That is why I go against people like that boxer who I identified last, who always goes on about spending money. Things like people like Little Wayne, things like that. I've investigated and found out the only reason they joined the MAGA movement is because they saw it as a vessel for riches, money, and power. This is something that a lot of us, if we're honest, in the Black diaspora do. It was once said, I think James L. Jones said it in a film, we are a community of customers. We're not a community of shopkeepers. I forget what film that was from. Somebody can tell me. We need to learn to have the shopkeeper ideology. We need to learn to have the business person ideology. Too long we've been told that we only should live in rough town, shanty town, project towns, and people think that we can't be intelligent, that we got to speak in a low down colloquial accent. And when you see people like Queen Lockridge or any woman of that sort or any man of that sort, when they try to pretend to be like us, they always speak in a downtown accent. We can be intelligent. We can be articulate. We are allowed to pursue excellence. We are allowed to reach for the peak. There is something called Maslow theory, which was stolen from the indigenous communities. Basically, what it means is identifying a base point, identifying your first needs, food, water, shelter. Then identify the next step up, finance, regular money coming in. And then after that, a job, a career, the ability to then pay your bills. And you see how it filters down? After that, becoming a lead in your chosen department. So with me, it was becoming a lead in health and social care. The top for me would be becoming a fully fledged therapist, so I could reach out to people. And now with the ability of arenas like this, you can help people in therapeutic circles around the world. I want to reach out to my brothers and sisters and give them therapeutic help. And I want to be a representative of the people I serve. Brothers and sisters and people of all identifications, I tell you, you can be you and be excellent at it. You can be you and be fantastic. You can be you and be seen of being proud of that. Be proud of the person you want to be and don't shy away from what you want that to be. Pursue excellence. Have the pursuit of being strong in the right way. But also, I say, if you have vulnerabilities, thrive from your vulnerabilities. Learn to be true to yourselves. And to you men out there are times where you feel like everything's coming down on you, that you feel you can't express it. If you have a partner of any description or family member, child, tell them, I feel bad today. When I've done therapeutic groups, I've often said, in our communities, there's the angry man who comes home after work and starts slamming doors and stomping around and leave me alone, leave me alone. And then the kids, if you've got them, get upset and what's wrong, Dad? What's wrong, Dad? Leave me alone. I've said something to people in these groups and it's since worked. What you do instead is you walk in slowly. And when the kids say, hello, Dad, give me an hour, half hour. Let me clean up. Let me get, sorted out. Maybe have some food. Then I can come down with you and play with you for a while, play what games you want to play. But for now, let me fix up. Then you come back to the kids and then say, do you know what? I've had a really rough day today. That's why, sometimes I come in and I'm a bit standoffish, but it's not because I don't love you. It's because I don't know how to process it. If you show that vulnerability to your young ones at a young age, trust me, when they get to teenage and they're going through things, they will remember it. They will come back to you and say, do you know what, Dad? I was at school today or college or whatever it is, and I had a really rough day today. Can we talk about it? Yes, of course. That's how you use your emotional intelligence and then build that into your family around you. We can be emotionally intelligent beings. We can be emotionally fulfilled people. We don't have to be strong all the time. We don't have to be stoic. We don't have to be hard-faced. Says me, who's been trying to learn this myself. See, you're used to seeing me putting on the hard face and saying the opening line I did at the beginning of this. That's the me you're used to seeing. There is another side of me, and I hope this goes in some way to introduce more of me to you. I want to build my own emotional intelligence to know that you will be there for me when I am emotional, when I am sad, when I am in tears, and still see me as the person you do now. And I apologize if it appears that I'm hard-faced. and I'm scary. I could be a nice guy, really, and be true to those around you. Be loving to those who need it. Be a shoulder to cry on for those who need it. And yeah. Was that 15 minutes?
Yes.
Wow. I could have carried on for another 15.
Well, I got to keep it to 15 because you know I'm going to need you to come back. But I want to say this. Thank you for honoring me with being my inaugural guest for Wisdom Wednesday, number 1. 2, thank you for being a good sport and giving people a peek at the Professor Moriarty that I've gotten to know and love and respect. I told y'all he's cuddly, he's nice, he smiles, he have a good time. Y'all be thinking that I'm just saying it. No. And I want to say, because looking at all the comments that are coming in, on behalf of everyone, thank you for your controlled vulnerability, which allows people to not just learn, but gain a comfort and know that they're not alone in their experiences and their feelings. Because far too often people try to put on this perfect Paul, perfect Patty persona, and people feel as if there's something wrong because they're the only ones going through it. And you provide not just a safe space, but a space for understanding, a space for growth.
Okay.
So I want to thank you for that. And for everyone listening over the radio airwaves at gcpr.live, and for everyone watching from all around the social media sphere, as always, thank you all for joining. And as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. As I stated, the Learning from Literature series will resume tonight. I did have to step away a little bit because the Epstein stuff does get a little heavy. Because I have multiple series going on with that. I did have to take a few days just to get myself right and okay with that, but we will be back with that. And yes, before you close your eyes tonight, I will have the first episode up of Adventures with Taz. I think hold on, I wrote it down. I'll tell you where we're going to start because I did pay attention to y'all's request. Oh, we're going to start with the time that I almost got single white female by a married lady. That's where we're going to start. And did I learn anything from this experience? No, not really. Because everybody is still friend-shaped to me. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. Or at least I have a babysitter that goes out the house with me. So I will see you next time. And you all can catch myself and Professor Moriarty wherever you can find a social media platform. Till later, y'all.
Production takes the light.